everyone and welcome. I'm Kirsten Winkler of KirstenWinkler.com and today I got questions for Christian Arno. He is the founder and managing director of a company called Lingo24.com. Christian, welcome to Questions.
Thank you very much, Kirsten.
So, how should we describe Lingo24, at least what it is today? It is a service that provides mostly companies, I suppose, with translations in almost any language, thanks to your translators who operate or who are established worldwide.
Yes, so we're a web-focused translation company, and what that means is that we're an easy access point. Lingo24.com is an easy access point for people to buy translation services. The other major development in terms of what we do is to help companies market themselves online in languages other than English, so foreign language internet marketing. That's the other string to our bow.
And back in 2001, how did you grab this opportunity that something web-based and translation in combination might be a sweet spot? Is it because of your own studies, or did you simply see an opportunity in the market to combine translation and do something really as one of the first ones, I'm sure, in education, focusing on search engine marketing as well?
Yeah, I was studying Italian in a college in Italy, and I was there as an English language assistant. There was a German language assistant, a French language assistant, and a Spanish language assistant. And the web was this, the .com boom was happening. Everyone was getting very excited, and we were all students who had language skills but no money. So I asked a friend to create a website, a horrible-looking website, and somehow we got some business through that. A company called Fuzzy Brush that they sell these like chewable toothbrushes, and Liverpool Tourist Board approached us, having found us on Yahoo, because Google wasn't significant at that stage. In fact, I'm not sure if it even existed. And a business was born, really.
Wow. And so it was really a bunch of students, and your criteria was, did they all have to be interpreters, or did they have, well, of course you have your native language, and then they had to study another foreign language, or what were the requirements back then?
Oh, at that stage it was very relaxed, much more relaxed than it is today. All they needed to do was be mother tongue speakers of a language. So I would translate into English from French and Italian. My German friend would translate into German, and so on. I mean that worked okay for the first year, but you could see the limitations as we started to get texts that were specialized in, for example, engineering or law. You need to have expertise in those areas. So we took the decision after a year that the company would become like an online professional translation agency, if you like, and we would use professional translators with at least 5 years experience in their field.
And I think so within 1 year you could already see that this is a viable business, and that you yes, really saw the opportunity in making it as professional as possible, but that it was really the business or the spot on the internet you wanted to be in.
Yes, it was amazing to me as a student that with relatively little effort, writing 5 web pages and persuading a friend to make that into a website, you could have people spend hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds, and so it was clear that there was a business there, and if we had a service that was going to be applicable to more business situations, that we could grow something of of substance, you know.
At the very beginning, was SEO as important already as it probably is today, or was there even less competition? I mean, in our little pre-talk you already emphasized that there is some big differences between the competition for English and then any other language basically. But what was the what were the challenges? Were there challenges to be found, or were you just pretty smart with SEO quite from the start?
Well, I always felt that you know, the most natural way to find, once the search engines arrived, it was the most natural thing in the world for someone to type in translation company, and that would be how we would find, you know, get people to find us at the right time. You know, you don't type in translation company to a search engine if you're looking for a hairdresser. Yeah, SEO was important for us, but as you touched on, in those days it really was not competitive. Now, I mean, I wouldn't be able to set up the business I've set up now because it's so competitive. And companies like ourselves have already got very strong positions in the search engines. So in some ways, we were lucky with the timing, and it wasn't too difficult to get prominence through, at that stage, Yahoo, and then shortly after, Google.
Mm-hmm. What would you say for people who either want to establish their teaching services or also translation or interpretation services on the internet nowadays, that you cannot go as broad as you did back then with Lingo24, and you should really focus on a niche if you have an interesting language combination to offer, or how, if at all, you would have a look in online education today? How would you do it?
Yes, I think specialism and identifying a gap where there isn't so much competition is really important. For people who are looking to promote themselves as language teachers online, I think they should be thinking beyond promoting themselves in the English language and possibly even the other major world languages, you know, the Chinese, Spanish and German, because there is so much competition in these major languages. That what we're seeing as a trend is a basket of other languages becoming more important in terms of what people are searching for. So anything from Swedish to Turkish to Vietnamese to Portuguese for Brazil. I think people promoting themselves to those audiences will find it easier to generate publicity, to become well known, if of course they can cope with inquiries coming in those languages.
Is the time issue very important? I suppose, as you have nowadays at least so many translators all over the world, you can get a translation, or at least the first raw version, maybe quite timely. Is this, it came out in one of the other interviews for this little series, that, for example, the translator in New Zealand said, so if he wants to have business in English with the UK, for example, this is basically his competitive advantage, that he can really work when they sleep and therefore have the translation overnight, basically.
Yes, we actually set up in New Zealand several years ago for that reason. Because you've got clients approaching you now wanting things done yesterday, and the closest you can get to yesterday is to do things overnight. So we now have operations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which means that we can react very quickly to urgent client requests, which I think is very positive. the downside is that sometimes there's a temptation to rush things, even when it doesn't help people to rush things.
Yeah.
So when things aren't actually needed really quickly, and when the fact that you do things really quickly can impact on quality and the cost of getting translation done.
Yeah, this is another interesting aspect because I talked with the founder of Premium Fan Page for another part in the series, and he had at the very beginning when he launched the thought that people would be very sensitive about money. So they offered a machine automated translation and the option for human translation as well. And he said that he had thought a good amount of people would go for the cheap solution, but in fact up to now 100% of the clients really want the human translation for the aspect of quality and also accept waiting a little longer. So I would be interested in your take between or comparing machine translation, maybe for getting a rough idea, but then really relying on human translation for important work to be done. Or do you think that maybe machine translation getting more and more sophisticated over the coming years will do at least a part of the work that is now done by human translators still?
Yes, I think machine translation it's making huge progress, and the range of applications for machine translation is getting greater. We've launched a new service called post-edited machine translation, which in some instances can save, where text is predictable and where there's a huge volume of it, it can save clients money and speed the whole process up. I don't really see that machine translation is cutting into the addressable market for the professional translation industry. What I see it doing is actually expanding the ways in which translation can be applied in a business. And in some instances I've heard of companies who weren't multilingual before, but thanks to machine translation could afford to go multilingual, and that phenomenon led to them actually buying professional translation where they wouldn't have done before. So it's new technology that's enabling people to be more multilingual is a very positive thing, and we've just got to work out we've got to educate clients about the best way to use it, and we've got to be careful and innovative in the way that we bring it in.
What is then your take on the, at least for me, quite sad news that Google will shut down their Translate API quite soon?
Yes, it is sad, because I know a range of applications were built, and depended on, and a range of very useful tools. I guess the message is that if a freely available tool is abused by any group for any reason, then it compromises its existence, and it's sad news. And there are a lot of other machine translation tools available, though, so it's not the end of the world. And Google Translation API, and Google Translate is still available to the public, so it's I guess we move on. Yeah.
Then you already talked about growing the business rapidly into other localized markets. Can you give us a clue of how much of a percentage your services are still done for the English language, and how much now comes from emerging countries? So when you say that the demand over there for Brazilian Portuguese, Turkish, Swedish is really growing, and potentially some interesting niches.
Yes, so our business, it's still the case that more than 50% of our business is the translation between English and other European languages. So our business is very much, most of our business is from Europe, and people within Europe are still generally trading more with other European countries than they are with Asia or the Americas. What we're seeing, however, is that the languages of the BRIC countries, so Brazil, Russia, India and China, and the CIVETS countries, Colombia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Egypt, Turkey and South Africa, are growing quicker than those languages, albeit from a small base. So the number of and we see this with corporate websites as well, the number of languages that on average a big company will translate into, it grows year on year quite significantly. I think the average 5 years ago was about 26 languages for the world's 100 largest companies, and it's now, I think, 43. So the languages that are commercially valuable are growing every year.
And what are, for our audience now, what are your requirements for someone who thinks of offering his translation or his services as a translator online, or maybe who would even be interested in working for you, or if you're looking for people, how does it work?
Yeah, we're always looking for talented people, and we have a section on our website which is under company. So if people are interested, the requirements are that people have 5 years' experience doing translation and a translation qualification. If in the absence of those sorts of skills, we would look. Well, we will look at people and test them, but there are other services that might be better suited to translators who are good translators but maybe don't have the experience or the qualifications.
However, I find that your pricing is due to this restrictive, or let's put it, this focus on quality and experience of the individual translator, are still quite competitive. How can you realize this pricing structure?
Yes, we try to keep the costs low to make our services accessible. The main way we do it is our operational hubs are based in lower cost countries within the regions we work in. So although our headquarters are in Scotland and we have an office in London, we operate primarily through 3 operational hubs. One for the Asia Pacific region is in the Philippines. For Europe, it's in Romania.
Oh yes, I saw that most of your developer team are down in Romania as well, right? Yeah.
And then in the Americas, our operation is in Panama.
Okay.
Now, all of these locations, for historical reasons, fantastic access to
foreign languages, of course, or
Now they don't. So the people in these office locations don't actually do the translation. They are more involved in managing the process or in different business functions. But they understand the challenges of multilingualism and are very open-minded, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is really the basis, that you have a managing team who is really sensitive and has the understanding, as you said, for multilingualism.
Yeah. Great. So I mean, for example, in Romania, I've got into Romanian taxi and been, had a taxi driver open up to me in 5 different languages, having seen that I was a foreigner.
Wow. Impressive.
The taxi drivers can speak 5 different languages. Wow, what can everyone else do?
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, as you put it at the beginning of our talk, you are now, we could say, pretty well established in the online translation space. And I ask myself, when you are sort of onto something, is there then eventually the risk that one of the very big players, such as Google, might have a look in the market and could think of launching something in competition to what you do?
I think Google do run a few things which are competitive in a sense to what we do. The translation industry is worth, I think, $26 billion, and there are lots of different people doing lots of different things. It's a very fragmented market. You don't have anyone dominating the space because it's very hard for any individual company to offer an advantage that no one else can offer. One of the things we do very well is customer service. We understand what the clients need, and we help them to use technology and people in the right combination to get. Google will never do anything like that because it's too people heavy.
Yeah, I think so. That's
Yeah.
right. They are more technology focused, of course, and I see that for I think you touched on a very interesting point there. I see that for online education in general, that you don't have the one dominant player, but that it's a pretty fragmented market, and even within each segment you usually have a couple of different players, everybody with their audience or customers or teacher base, and they are all basically into business.
Yeah, there is a lot. I mean, that's one of the beauties of the web, that there's so much space for different people to do different things in different ways. And yeah, we are, everyone's competing in a sense, and yet
Sure.
It's a big market.
Oh yeah, I think it's an exciting market to be part of, and it's great.
Yeah.
For Lingo24, what do you see as your goals, or maybe a little bit more broad? What are your plans for the future?
Well, we're going to be doing a lot of work to promote the foreign language internet, which is this concept of the user base of the web in languages other than English growing a lot quicker than the user base of the web in English, as a fantastic opportunity for anyone who can sell their services online, or even just promote themselves online. That, coupled with the fact that it's the competition just isn't there in languages other than English, is a real opportunity. So for ourselves, we'll be launching our website in 65 different country markets this year.
Wow.
And,
okay, that's quite a bit.
we've got some busy web designers at the moment. We'll be encouraging and supporting our customers to do the same. There's a limited time opportunity to, I guess, hoover up some of the online real estate, if you like, and we're going to be helping people to do that in lots of different countries. So it's all about, I mean, the foreign language internet is a huge part of our intended growth.
Very interesting, I think, also for people in our audience. So for everybody who would like to learn more about Lingo24, the website is, of course, lingo24.com. You have a Facebook page that's also pretty easy to find. Otherwise, how could people get in touch, or where do they find you? How are you active on, social media or the web in general?
Yes, well, we have the official Lingo24 feed, which is Lingo24 on Twitter. I also have a personal one, which is L24CA, if anyone wants to get in touch or talk about anything.
Great, Christian. So thank you very much for doing the interview. That was great fun.
Thank you very much, Kirsten. Enjoyed it.